All right. Well, welcome back to the All Things Croatia podcast, everyone. Today we have Katica Nikić and Caroline Spivak representing Team Canada in the Croatian World Games, or Crolympics, which is an Olympic-style competition for the Croatian Diaspora. The goal of the games is connecting young Croats from all over the world through sports and cultural gatherings, and to encourage them to cultivate their Croatian identity. Caroline is the coordinator for Team Canada, and Katica participated on the basketball team. The competition just happened, so I'm really excited to hear about it. Thanks for coming on the podcast, you guys.
The pleasure.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Of course. Can you guys start us off by sort of introducing yourselves and where you're from and telling us about your Croatian background?
Caroline Spivak, currently living in Toronto. I grew up in Croatia, Germany, and Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. I've spent my youth in folklore, tambura, Croatian school, teaching Croatian school, being involved in the community with our church in Hamilton, our church in Toronto, working with the Mississauga group on our Christian Park. And am really excited to now have been the coordinator for the second Team Canada at the Croatian World Games. We had our first big entry in 2017. And then again this year, we had 53 athletes in 2017 and 153 this time. And it is interesting to note that Canadians have been part of the Croatian World Games since the very first games. So that's kind of exciting. Our team has significantly grown and our participation has definitely intensified.
That's awesome to hear. Thank you, Caroline. And Katica, can you tell us a little about yourself and your Croatian background as well?
I'm Katica Nikić. I grew up in Ottawa. I've always lived in Ottawa. My parents on both sides are from Croatia. Well, their parents, so my grandparents from both sides are from Croatia, and that's where my background comes from. I grew up in folklore, tambura. I did all of that. I went to Croatian school, and this was my first World Games. I heard about it. Well, my dad heard about it through Instagram. There was a little ad that he saw, and he's like, "Hey, you want to go play?" Of course I do. So I joined this, and I had a great time. So yeah,
What was so you played on the basketball team, right?
I did. Yes.
What was your experience? I mean, were you playing basketball in college, high school, sort of recreational?
Yeah. So I started playing basketball. I I want to say I was 10. I was fairly young, and it started off as just a little camp that my dad signed me up for, and since then I just fell in love with the game. I started playing house league, and then for like maybe a year or two. After that, I just took off in competitive. My previous, my so not my the previous two teams that I've been on, they've both been in the top five in all of Ontario, like one of the provinces in Canada, and it's been an amazing run for me playing for such a high level of basketball. I took a year off for university, like from playing basketball just to get my studies going, and I'm hoping that maybe this year I'm gonna try out and do something for university ball.
That's awesome. Caroline, I want to ask you, since Katica mentioned she saw it on an Instagram ad. Where did you hear about these Croatian World Games, and how did you first get involved? You mentioned this was your second Croatian World Games.
That's right. In 2014, I was in Croatia as I was a member representing Canada, one of three members representing Canada on the council for Croatia, for the government of Croatia, for Croats living outside of the homeland, and was a guest at the opening ceremonies of those games in 2014, which was phenomenal. And as part of the opening ceremonies, all of the participating countries had the opportunity to walk across the stage. And all of a sudden, I hear Canada, and I got so excited. And I thought, how come I don't know about this? And as I watched the team walk across, it was this wonderful group of seniors from Vancouver, which is lovely. and they have participated in all of the games, and they usually win a medal in bocce for sure. But I was disappointed because I thought Canada has so much youth, so much Croatian youth. We have to do something about this. And that's when I got involved, not only in coordinating Team Canada, also on the executive organizing committee for the games, because I needed to understand exactly what the games were, how they're put together, so that we could put together a team from Canada and have some really strong participation. In 2017, as I say, we got together 53 athletes, primarily from Vancouver and Ontario, and we brought home 10 medals. And this time, we, again, primarily from Vancouver, Ontario, some Edmonton, Calgary folks, we brought over 150 athletes, and we took home 9 medals. So we're keeping it consistent. So my involvement has increased and will continue to increase. And I hope that we will put together an equally strong team in 4 years when we host the 6th annual game, or not annuals, the 6th games rather.
That's awesome. Katica, I want to hear from you about sort of how this week went down. It was, I believe, last week, correct, that this Croatian World Games happened. Can you sort of tell us the whole week, what happened, sort of from the journey over to Croatia to that week of games to flying back? How did that go?
Well, I'm actually still in Croatia right now. I'm in Dubrovnik. I'm enjoying the coast is right in front of me right now. So, but flying up, it was a long flight. It was 9 hours for me, and it was a direct flight, so I had to drive from Ottawa to Toronto, which is roughly 4, maybe 5 hours. Then I have to get on a 9 hour flight, and so it was long. Once I arrived to the Studentski Dom, it was a lot more than I expected. I had this room, and it had no AC, but at first I was like, this is not gonna work out. And then after the first night, I was like, this is amazing. Like, I don't know what it was about it, but it just felt kind of nice. It was different. So the first night I went out, I knew some people who were at the games from Ottawa as well, and we all went out for dinner. The next day, oh boy, this was a whole week ago.
We went to Sliema.
Yes, yes, we did. We went up there. That was lots of people I know. They got motion sickness from going all the way up on around and around. But once everyone got up there, including I, like it was gorgeous. The view from up there was amazing.
Danko, we went to the 360 tower that recently opened on Sliema.
Oh, I haven't been there yet. Is it nice?
Oh, it's beautiful. I really recommend it. It's gorgeous. You can see all of Croatia from up there. Basically, and the people who work there, you'd point somewhere and you're like, so what's down there? They'd tell you exactly what it is. Like, it's amazing. Tuesday was the opening ceremonies, and that was a beautiful ceremony. It was roughly, I want to say, 2 hours long, I think, something like that. And there were just performance after performance after performance. Each one had me just, I lost for words. They were so beautiful. It was all folklore mainly from Croatia. I think there was some from other regions. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Was the main there were some girls. They did some Oriental and some Egyptian performances. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I knew it wasn't all Croatian folklore, but yeah, no. After the first Kolo dance, I leaned over to my dad and I said, "I'm joining Kolo again this year." Like it blew me away. It really did. And after that, awesome. we went down. There was another concert going on down there. I always forget the boys' names. They sang
boys.
Yes, them. Yeah. So they had their own little concert downstairs. We went to that. Wednesday was my games. I played 3 games total for Canada, and then Macedonia needed another player. So me and this other girl from France, we decided, hey, like, we can help you guys out. And I found that that's really what this is all about. It's not just the games. It's really meeting other people, finding out where they're from and how to connect, and helping each other, really. So it's more than just the games is what I'm trying to get at. But the games, they were a lot of fun. They were really fun.
Now I heard you guys placed
Thursday,
bronze at the
yeah.
end.
We did. Yes, we did. And there's a little story behind the bronze cup. Uh, we brought it out to celebrate that night, and I gave it to one of my teammates, and she ended up putting it at the bar, saying, "Here, you keep it." I text her at around 1 in the morning. "Hey, do you know where the cup is?" "Yeah, I thought you took it from the bar." "I don't have it." So I go back to the bar at 1 a.m. and the bar is closed. So the next night, my dad, who was also the coach, we go down to the bar again. My dad goes up and he's like, "Hey, we left a cup here." They're like, "Yes, it's in the back." So they go to the back. They have our trophy. They give it back to us. We go. I find all my teammates. I say, "Look what I found," and from there. So that was the highlight of Thursday. Um, it was just, and then Friday we had a friendly match against France. So the Team Canada team for basketball made really good friends with the France team. We came together and played this really friendly little game of 5-on-5, and that was Friday. Saturday, I went into
It was the
Zagreb.
closing ceremonies too.
Yes, sorry, thank you. Closing ceremonies as well. Um, and that was just introducing everyone, like, this is what this country did, this is what this country did, and how many medals they got, which is really interesting to see all the other sports there were. Like, I knew there was basketball, soccer, volleyball, bocce, but there were plenty of others, like judo, tennis. Like, there were just several sports. It really amazed me. And so yeah, that was Friday, and then Saturday, lots of people went home.
We also had the cross
Lots.
country walk run.
Yes, I didn't go to that, but one of my friends' brothers participated in that.
Many Team Canada
And
members did the
yes,
walk run.
yeah, I know, lots of people did that. Um, yeah, and some of our friends from France, one of my friends from France actually came first in that, uh, I think it was like a 3.5 kilometer, but
3.2.
3.2, yes. And it was really nice. It was really nice. I went to Zagreb as well, and then afterwards had dinner again with the group from Ottawa, and from there parted ways.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
awesome.
that was really the whole week. It was a lot of
Yeah, it
fun.
sounds like an awesome week. So you met, I'm guessing you met a lot of people there from, all over the world, a lot of different Croatians.
Yes, a lot of people. I met people from Macedonia, Germany, France, Australia, the United States, even. Moral of the story, everywhere around the world.
Yeah. Well, Caroline, let me direct this towards you. Can you tell us sort of a little bit more about the competition, the World Games as a whole? How many countries were involved? What kind of sports were there, and how did most people really get involved and signed up? Do you have to know other people? Do you have to be on a team, for example, if you want to play basketball, or do you just sort of sign up solo and you're joined by the rest of the people from your country? Sort of walk us through that process and how the games work as a whole.
Sure. This year we hosted 800 athletes from 26 countries of the Croatian Diaspora. So you can imagine the logistics involved with that. Each country has a country coordinator, and that individual is responsible for promoting the games, for pulling the team together, and making sure that Croatians in their country are aware that this is happening. You can appreciate in countries such as Canada, the US, Australia, that's no small task because of the vastness of our countries. But we spend couple of years promoting the games, whether it's writing to all the church communities, all the sports clubs, all the folklore groups, letting people know that this is an opportunity to visit Croatia. And I'm really proud of the fact that more than half of our Team Canada athletes this year came to Croatia for the very first time. And what happened for Katica is what we hope for. The games are about connecting amateur sports athletes, in particular youth. I mean, our youngest athlete was 16. Our most senior athlete was 89. So the spread is wide.
Wow.
That sweet spot is 16 to about 25 that we're after. They get to come to Croatia for the first time to experience the country in a really different way. Most importantly, they get the opportunity to meet youth from around the world in Croatian communities, create friendships, sometimes romances, sometimes marriages. Sometimes people decide to come back to Croatia after the 2017 games. We had a couple of families that moved back to Croatia. We have several of our university students who chose to come to study their programs in Croatian and English, which is phenomenal. We want them to come to Croatia to fall in love and to come back time and time again. Now, there are countries such as Bolivia, maybe Peru, Chile, where there are only a few athletes. They don't have the large contingents that we do. So what we do is, as Katica mentioned earlier, is we add them to a team. So perhaps Team Canada's female soccer players our team needed 1 or 2 players. So we borrowed some from Bolivia. We were able to farm out some of our athletes to France, Peru, Argentina as well. So that just increases those opportunities for getting to know each other, but then having a whole lot of fun together. And it's beautiful to watch this manifestation of friendships, of interactions, of sports competition, of helping each other out. And really, language is no barrier. It's a ton of fun, and it's really a special experience for our athletes.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I have to say, I'm really jealous. When I first found out only a few weeks ago that I heard about this, Paul over at Croatia Week magazine, reached out to me.
Yeah.
Said that you guys reached out to him, and I saw this. I was like, oh man, like I wish I knew about this, 4 years ago, even last week, right before this one happened, but before the last one happened. We'll
get you on a team for next time.
I would love that. Yeah, I know it's far in advance. It's in 4 years.
Because when you think about the countries, we say the prekooceanske države, so North America, South America, Australia, we have to buy our tickets a year in advance. And that means we have to organize our teams 2 years in advance, which means now there's only 2 years left for organizing. So when you look at the timeline, it contracts very quickly. There's a lot of work that has to happen in a very short amount of time, so that when I go, for example, to organize the team, I have information, and I'm not just saying, hey, we're doing this thing, put your lives in our hands and plan to go to Croatia in 2 years' time. So it's a little bit of a different organizing challenge here for Europe, because most of the time they can get in a car and be here in 6 to 12 hours. So they don't necessarily share our urgency of information sharing and organization, but we're teaching them slowly that this is really important. Otherwise, we can't get here in time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an awesome program. I love the goal as well. I was in a similar situation, not athletics related, but, I came over to Croatia to do this language learning program for the diaspora. And, I met other Croatian diaspora from all over the world. And then now I'm here 2.5 years. It was a 3-month program. So
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's what we want. We want people to decide to come back to Croatia, decide to come for the first time, to create opportunities, to come for school, whether it's a semester or a 4-year degree or a master's program. Croatia's done a really good job with the universities of creating programs that are in English so that they are accessible. They guarantee enrollment spots for youth out of the diaspora. So they are extending an olive branch to us. We just need youth to take it, and it's happening. And that's really exciting.
That's awesome. Well, like we said, it's not as far in advance as I thought. It should be all, I guess, in 2 years. You sort of have it mapped out. How would someone that's interested in participating in the next games go about, both in Canada and in their own respective countries, go about getting in contact with someone?
So if you don't know who your country coordinator is, the best thing to do is to go to the Hrvatski Svjetski Kongres website or the Hrvatske Svjetske Igre, in this case, HSI 2023. But in Canada, I'm the coordinator. I'll be the coordinator again. And we publish on our Facebook page, our Team Canada Croatian World Games Facebook page. We announce that tryouts are happening and when the games will be scheduled as soon as we know that. Also, our email is cwg.teamcanada@gmail.com. Drop us a line. We'll put you on the list for our email distributions. And again, in our case, when we define when the games will be and what city they're going to be held in, I send out notices to all the churches, all the local communities, so that we make sure that we're trying to reach all corners of our Croatian communities across Canada. So whether it's from Windsor to Detroit or Vancouver to Nova Scotia, we want to cover the country and have an even bigger team and an even broader representation of our country. There's a lot of Croatian Canadian youth, and we want them to be really excited about coming to Croatia, and we want to extend that warm welcome to give them a wonderful experience here.
That's
and
awesome.
Many members of our team continue to stay on to visit either the home villages of their ancestors and their families or their grandparents for the very first time. They're getting to visit family and friends, and others are just exploring the country sort of from the coast all the way up, which is exactly what we want.
Yeah, well, yeah, the summer is a great time to explore Croatia and the coast specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can tell you right now,
the
coast is gorgeous right now. I just got back from a boat cruise. I'm here. I was in Zagreb, and my mom, brother, and my brother's girlfriend, who's here for the first time. She's never been to Croatia, so she already loved it as soon as she stepped off the plane. But they came to come watch me play, and my brother, he asked, like, this seems pretty cool. Why didn't I join it? Like, do they have a hockey team? I said, I really don't know about hockey, but I know you like to run. And he's like, yeah, join the running team. Like, go for a nice 3-kilometer run. Like, oh yeah, I'll do that next time.
Excellent.
So we already, just so you know, we got another one.
There you go. What's interesting too is we had a contingent of about 15 young siblings of our team members and our families. We called them our official cheerleaders because they were under the 16 year of age mark for participation, but come the next games, they're fully eligible. And we've seen that now for the second time, where families have younger children who aren't quite ready, but they come and they see what it's about and they get excited and they can't wait to join for the next games. So we're building the pipeline of our future Team Canada.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, I was already making a mental note to tell my younger sister to look into this for the next games.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. Caroline, I want to sort of ask you, semi-related, you also have a podcast, related to Croatia, and I want to give you a chance to promote that a little bit and talk about that and where people can find that.
So in pandemic years, we confer the Croatian Woman of Influence Award, and we have over 120 winners from around the world, again, from all of our diaspora communities. We host an international conference on International Women's Day, March 8th, every year in Croatia. So here again, we have incredibly accomplished women of Croatian descent who often are coming to Croatia for the first time to get their awards. And so we launched a CWN Leading Ladies podcast, where we feature those winners in a more in-depth way. So they get to tell us what's happening, what's new. Oftentimes we go back to our previous winners to see how winning the award has impacted their career or their situation, what it means to them. We catch up with them to find out what's been happening since they've received their awards. And then we intermix that with our current winners as well. And so that's part of our offering in terms of connecting, championing, and celebrating our Croatian women. And shortly we'll be opening the nominations for the 2024 year, and stay tuned for that.
Awesome. Well, I'll drop links so people can find that. Also drop links to everything else we talked about, your email and other coordination, the website you mentioned, so people listening can go ahead and click on that. Katica and Caroline, I want to thank you guys again so much for coming on the podcast. I just have two more quick questions for the both of you. And the first one is, what is your favorite food to eat while you're here in Croatia?
Oh, There's a lot.
If you had to pick one
Katica, go
only,
for it.
Mm.
or
I'll probably have to go with
anything.
like Schnitzli. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I have to go with that.
For me, if I'm in
Sorry.
Hrvatska and it's summertime, Jadranske lignje broj 1
Uh,
and pistachio gelato from Eva's place in Zadar, right next to Pozdrav Sunca.
Wow, I've never tried that before from anywhere.
100% you gotta go. She makes it all
Yeah.
in-house. The gelato's to die for. But pistachio's my favorite and her
yes.
stracciatella.
Wow.
I'm in Dubrovnik right now, and I just last night we went through the walls to have dinner. As we're walking back home, there's this one ice cream place, and I say, "Mom, we have to go in. They have to have pistachio." Sure enough, we walk in, they have pistachio. I fell in love because that's all I get here. Whenever I'm in Croatia, it has to be pistachio.
You also have to
Huh.
try the watermelon gelato if you can find it. It's
Really?
life-changing.
Okay, I had lime and pistachio last night, which is a weird combo, but
But
it
works.
works. It works, so I'm not
Good stuff.
complaining.
We'll take your word for it.
Yeah, man, I'm
Okay.
missing out. I always get vanilla wherever I go, so I really got to
Oh, you
start
gotta branch
expanding.
out. Give it a
Yeah.
shot.
I've been here too many
Oh yeah.
summers to keep getting vanilla, so maybe
Yeah.
tonight. Tonight I'm going out to the Riva. I'm here in Makarska, so I'll get something from
Nice.
one of the ice
Try
cream
some
places.
lavender gelato.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Very
yes.
yummy.
All right,
Yes.
I'll take your word for it. I won't just take your word for it. I mean, I'll try it tonight. I'll let you know.
Venture out.
Awesome.
I
Well,
had some lavender. It was lavender and lemon in
Yum.
back in Canada, but I could only imagine how the lavender one is here. Like everything here is just 10 times better, no matter where you go, what it is.
it's
See,
true.
Stanko,
Yeah.
that's why we do this. That's
Yeah.
the result.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree 100%. And sort of the last question on that note, for you guys, and I ask all the guests this who come on the podcast, but what makes Croatia so special for you?
For me,
Caroline, if you'd like, yeah.
for me, it's the roots of my family. We have been here for centuries. This is home. This is where my heart is. This is where my roots are.
I have to go with the same. My family's all from here, but if I have to be a little bit selfish, I want to say the More is my favorite. I love I love this. I'm just staring at this view. It's gorgeous, and the islands just it's just so the water is so blue here. Everything has color. It's all full of life, and I that's why that slogan Croatia full of life, that it's some kind of account somewhere, you know. I never really fully understood why it's always, you know, Croatia full of life until this trip when I'm actually seeing Croatia. I'm a lot older now since the last time I came here, but it is full of life, and it's just beautiful here. So
It definitely is, yeah. And that feeling is, what I sort of wanted to capture, when I started my journey back to Croatia. And, that's the
mhm.
same feeling that, I see a lot of other diaspora who come back, feeling. And that's really the magic of coming back to Croatia, even if not just to live, but, for a summer or for a month, however long you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely something magical about stepping foot back in Croatia. Caroline,
Yeah,
Katica, I want to thank you guys again so much. Once again, I'll drop links so anyone can, find your guys' information. But I really appreciate you guys taking the time here to come on the podcast.
Thank you so much for the
thank you.
opportunity and best of luck to you.